Well, friends, I am very happy to be with you all. It is such a great opportunity for me to talk to you upon a very important subject. And without wasting any time, I'll start with a Mangalachara about Himadri Putri, that is Uma, who is called the daughter of Himalaya. Ankadirudeena kajananena mugdhena balena virajamana. Ankadirudeena gajananena mugdhena balena virajamana Himadri Putri paripatu vishvam. So, here you see that she is called Himadri Putri. She is referred to as daughter of Himalayas. Her name is combined with the name of her father. I intentionally chose this verse to show that women were always known by the name of their parents or the city or where they came from. Like Panchali, Draupadi, Gandhari, all these words, they signify that women were not totally dissociated from their families as some people are alleging. Now I'm going to make 6 important points very briefly because I'm going to take only 10 minutes, and the points that I wish to make are something like this. First confusion that has been created by some religious gurus is that Kanyadana is not a ritual which is found in Shruti and therefore it is not valid. Now, obviously, Shrutis are not the place where achar or rules of conduct or how conduct is to be done in the world is defined. Shrutis are primarily stutis for devatas like Indra, Varuna, Mitra, etc. And somewhere or the other we find some references to ways of life. But what is to be done, how life is to be led, and how Hindus were leading their life, that is found in Smritis. Therefore, we should understand that it is the Smritis which are going to tell us what to do, what not to do, what rituals to follow, what rituals not to follow, or who will follow which ritual and for which purpose. Now, if you see this, then Manu says that Kanyadana is absolutely essential. How do I make this claim? You see, Manu has made 8 kinds of marriages. He defines that there are 8 kinds of marriages which are prevalent in my time. Manu is not saying there cannot be a 9th or a 10th or 11th. The Shastras only described what was the practice. Now, out of these 8, 5 had Kanyadana. The 3 which did not have Kanyadana was because the last 2 were evil practices, that is, what was called the Pishacha Vivaha. That was forcefully seducing a woman. So there could not be any Kanyadana in it. And in what was called the Rakshasa Vivaha, in which the woman was abducted, again would not have Kanyadana, for the simple reason that it was done something by force. We are talking of marriage which is a relationship of love, not a relationship of violence. And then there was no Kanyadana in Gandharva marriage because Gandharva marriage was a great liberal form of sacred ritual which ancient India practiced and which Manu and Vatsyayan and various other Shastrakaras said was right and good. That was the Gandharva Vivaha, and this Vivaha was done secretly, entirely by two lovers. So as there was no third person around, there was no Kanyadana. But for the other 5 kind of marriages, there was Kanyadana. Why? Because it was a relationship between two families. Because it was done something under public evidence. And it was a valuable way of making relationship between two kinds of people. So the first is the Brahma Vivaha, which we know, which still is practiced and is the only legal method now left, in which both sides of relatives gather, and there is Kanyadana. The second was Deva Vivaha, in which if a yajna had been conducted, then any of the major priests of the yajna, whether Potri or Subramanyam or Gravastuta, whichever, was given the daughter as dakshina. That was a formal marriage, and there was Kanyadana. Then there was Arsha Vivaha, in which a teacher would say, okay, you have studied with me for this long time, now you continue my relationship and take my daughter, and you become my son-in-law along with my disciple. Then there was Prajapatya, people who led very austere lives, spent all their time in studying, had very little money or even not even the capacity to gather people. There, the father would give the daughter in Kanyadan and with other rituals to a person, a deserving person, which was called the Prajapatya Vivaha. And the sixth one was the Asura Vivaha, in which a certain price was paid to the father, and then there was a regular marriage in which there was Kanyadana. So in this way, these were the 5 the vivahas in which Kanyadana happened. Now look, let's try to understand what is Kanya. Today we are being told that Kanya is a property, or we are being told this way that Kanya is not a property and therefore you cannot give her. In other words, Dan is always made of property. Do you understand the significance of this particular kind of thinking? That it only looks upon things in terms of their property value, material value. Now in ancient times, what was called dhana was not just property. So Kanya was dhana. Just as Lakshmi is dhana, Shri is dhana. She is not property. She is wealth, not in the sense of physical things. She is wealth in the sense that she is the creative energy of universe, Shakti. And unless Shiva is combined with Shakti, there can be no creation. Unless Lakshmi is combined with Vishnu, there can be no progeny. So this is something which we have to understand. Now Dhan was not just material. We use the term Vidyadan. So is Vidya just material? Is Vidya just commercial? We use the word Pranadan. We use the word Raktadan. Now, are all these things just property? If you give your life for your nation, fighting, in defending the territory of the nation, then is a soldier a property of the nation? I mean, look at the thinking of these people who are calling Kanya a property. Actually, what you are saying is that Kanya is a property, don't give her away. When you say that Kanya is not a property, No, Kanya is certainly not a property, Kanya is Shri. And in the Hindu system, Shri is given to Vishnu. The Hindu marriage ritual symbolizes the Vara or the male as Vishnu and the woman as Lakshmi. So it is bringing Lakshmi to Vishnu. This is the real purpose. So a daughter is not an old shirt, or she is not property for which you do garage sale. Now these are people from the culture of garage sale, where they don't want something, then they sell their property. You know, in United States there is a big thing called garage sale, where unwanted things are given out to neighbors either for free or for a small amount of money. Because highly materialistic cultures cannot look upon anything except in material terms, therefore they accuse us of treating our women as property. But as I have said, that is not so. Kanya is Devi, Kanya is Lakshmi. And I have given you so many other examples. Now the second word which is very important here is Dan. What is Dan? Dan is certainly giving, but as I said, it is not giving only material things. When the great Rishi Dadhichi gave his spine to Indra and said, "Take my spine, make Vajra out of it, go into the battle and defeat your enemies, your vicious, your evil enemies," then what was he doing? Was he selling his spine? And was that not Dan? So Dan is of all kinds, and it is of great significance. It is never of just a small commercial exchange. It is very often in the right sense of the most precious things. And you do Dan for various reasons. Kanyadana is done so that there can be dampatya, so that there can be progeny, so that a man and a woman are able to take away the rin on them. And the rin, what is the rin or what is the burden? That they were given birth by somebody into this world. And they have now to give birth to somebody who can be able, who can be dharmic, who can lead a good life, and it is their responsibility to raise the children. Now that is the purpose of marriage. That is the traditional meaning of dampatya. Cultures which think that marriage is just a contract so that you can enjoy together or spend some time together, they simply don't appreciate the Hindu concept of Dan. Therefore, they bring in all these distortions. I'm going to say one thing more on Dan because I have to quickly finish my talk now. In the Brihadaranyaka, Brahma, he is approached by devatas, by men and by asuras. And he says only one consonant, the. And there are three meanings of the. For devatas, the meaning is damyata, control yourself. Because you are full of wealth, you are full of youth. So those who have wealth and youth and power, they should learn to control. For human beings, the means dan, give. So all human relationships are built on dan, on giving. Dan is giving to others. The whole Constitution of India, ancient Constitution of India, not the modern one, but the ancient Constitution, the Smriti Constitution of India was based upon Dan, giving. All kinds of things which we had to give to our gurus, to our devatas, to our other human beings, to other living and non-living things, bhuta, etc. The 5 rinas that we had to be free of, they were all giving. So, culture in India, the Hindu system, which incorporates all different philosophies, Jain, Bauddha, this and that, they are fundamentally based on the concept of Dan. And Kanyadana is to be seen in that context. I have already told you that it is very silly to say that women were just forgotten, their father would forget. No. I gave you the example of Girisuta, Panchali, Gandhari, Himadriputri, and this was the custom that women were always referred to as daughters of some family, of a person, and coming from a region. So all these things were remembered because it was a liaison, a relationship between two families. See, Kanyadana is a sanskar. You can say that why make such a show of it? You just do Kanyadana, you just give your daughter, but why do you recite the mantras? Why do you hold, give the hand of the daughter into the hand of the vara or the bridegroom? Why do you do the lepanam of haldi, turmeric? Why do you do all these things? Now these all things are done as a ritual. Why? Because in the Hindu system, whatever action we do is to be done in completeness. What does this completeness consist of? It consists of action, which is manasa, vacha and karmana. That is, I put my mind into it. Then I proclaim, I recite, I say something from my mouth through speech and declare what I am doing. And then I do a physical action. Karmana. Karmana is body. So if I say namaskar, then I not only utter the word namaskar, I bow my head. Or I do dandavat. These physical actions are done so that the whole unity of manasa, vacha, karmana is maintained for completeness of an action. And this is called sanskar, because that transforms your social status, that transforms your consciousness, and that makes permanent the prana or the vow that you have taken. So Kanyadana means you have received. It's not just giving, it is also receiving. You have taken a woman in marriage. And then, as you know, there are various other rituals that follow which cement that relationship and which make it complete. Kanyadana has to be seen in the context of the whole Hindu marriage for the purpose of dampatya, for the purpose of progressing with your family. Now, it is the cultures today who have lost their faith in family, who believe so much in the individual that for them a relationship between man and woman is not a relationship in which raising progeny and making them into able citizens is an essential part of it. You see, what is essential is just cohabitation, and they talk about various conditions of cohabitation, various kinds of cohabitation. So that is the problem which we are facing. It's an attack on fundamental Hindu values by people who have lost their own values, cultures which are hankering in the dark, and they want us to do the same. So, thank you very much.